Mainland corporations and the federal government have been attacking Hawaiian farming for 2 centuries. Native Hawaiians used to control a self-sufficient agricultural system, but now are forced to import 90% of the food they consume and export 80% of the crops that they grow. Back in the early 1800s, sandalwood harvesting as well as poorly managed livestock caused widespread destruction of Hawaii's forests. Around that same time, American and British businessmen started to come into Hawaii and convert their farmland into sugar and pineapple plantations for exports. These plantations continued to grow and spread for over a century. When Hawaii received statehood in 1959, its workers received more rights for fair compensation. As a result, the plantations started to leave. Instead of Hawaiians gaining back access to their farmland, it was largely developed for tourism and housing. By the end of the 1960s, less than half of Hawaii's fruits and vegetables were grown locally, which marked the end of their food sovereignty. As Hawaiians continued to be priced out of their land and food demands from tourism increased, scientists started to use Hawaii as a testing ground for genetic modification. The seed and chem giants like DuPont started conducting ground trials with genetic modification decades before they were approved by the FDA. As of 2014, over 3,236 genetically modified field trials have been conducted in Hawaii. And over 90% of today's genetically modified corn strains were originally developed in Hawaii. The islands of Hawaii, Kauai, and Maui tried to fight back against genetic modification and pesticides by banning their use. However, in 2016, a federal judge ruled that Hawaiian counties can't pass a ban on genetically modified crops or pesticides. This is extremely frustrating for the Hawaiians because a Center for Food Safety study reported that the chem giants like Dow, BASF, and Syngenta spray 17 times more restricted use insecticides per acre in Hawaii than they do on ordinary cornfields in the US mainland. Kauai's residents complain of the sprays and attribute them to a sudden rise in birth defects. And you might be thinking, well, why don't Hawaiians buy more land and use it for farming and improve practices? And there's several key reasons why they're not able to do that on any large scale. The federal and state government, as well as private individuals and corporations from the US mainland, own the majority of Hawaii's farmland. The lack and cost of farmland still fences out Hawaiians, as 1 acre can run for over $100,000. And for the small-scale farmers who are still operating, they're barely scraping by. Around 87% of the 7,328 farms statewide in Hawaii generate less than $50,000 annually in revenue. To take advantage of the land that they do own, some Hawaiians are rallying for a move towards small-scale, biodynamic farming operations and food forests. Comment what else you think should be done about this below.